Welcome back, football fans, to Strictly Biased with yours truly, Will Retherford. We are here tonight to break down the Week 10 NFL slate. I am joined by the legend himself, Greg Mengelt. Greg, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for letting me be part of your podcast, Will.
Yes, I appreciate your willingness to join and help out. I think we have some guests lined up in the coming weeks that might potentially join us in studio to break down some NFL film and NFL conversation in general. But Greg, we had a lot go right this week, a lot that went bad for some teams. I have a lot to say. I know you have a question to ask, so why don't you hit me with it?
The question I want to ask this week, Will, is how badly have you been waiting to gloat about the New England Patriots and your prediction that they would win the AFC East this year?
I didn't really think it was that likely. I did see playoffs. The schedule had playoffs written all over it. Mike Vrabel is an incredible coach. I think Drake May had showed signs of being really, really good last year in a bad year for the New England Patriots. And so far, they've exceeded all expectations. They have only given up one running back to have over 50 yards the entire year. It's Week 10. They're all of a sudden just really good. And I don't think it's a surprise that the Titans fire Mike Vrabel. The Titans are horrible and have been since he left. And the Patriots all of a sudden are really, really good.
Really, really good?
Really good. They're a competent, good, they can win a playoff game type team.
I'll give you pretty good. How about that?
A couple more weeks like they show a couple more weeks like they showed in Week 10 in Tampa Bay, and I think that you have to start entertaining the question that they are a contender to be a top 4, top 2 team in the AFC when it's all said and done, especially if they're able to get home field.
Sure.
But, I still think there's a lot of inexperience on the outside. I think they have young running backs. I think Drake May is exceptional, but they're definitely a tier below, I think, the top AFC teams.
As a Colts fan who has Super Bowl aspirations for his team, the New England Patriots concern me much more next year and the year after that. Just still too many young players in too many important places, and
I agree with that.
Wake me up in 26 with the Patriots.
I agree with that, especially like with the Patriots holding Jonathan Taylor to under 50 rushing yards. No, they're not.
Maybe in New England in January, and that's why if you're a Colts fan, you want to avoid that situation.
And I really struggle with that. The Steelers did it because Steichen went away from the run game. If Steichen stays committed to the run game, Jonathan Taylor's going to have 100 yards every single game because he's just that good, and he's that.
But the
hard
Colts
to bring
want to
down.
avoid going to Foxborough or Denver or Buffalo.
I think so. I think they're definitely a team probably built for a dome. I think Daniel Jones probably plays his best football in a more controlled environment. I think sometimes, as silly as it sounds, it gets rattled outside for whatever reason a little easier. I think you saw it in Pittsburgh.
Plus, as the number 1 seed, you get to play either the second or third best team, not both. And that's as important as playing at home.
I agree. I also think it comes down to this Colts team's not really going to have a ton of experience in cold weather this season. When it comes down to it, they're going to play in Kansas City, they're going to play in Seattle, and then everything else is either going to be in a dome or in Jacksonville. So you're kind of talking about a team that really, if you think the cold weather experience of Pittsburgh at 55 is going to be anything like it's going to be when it's 20 degrees in Baltimore, I think that you might be singing a different tune in terms of this team's ability to play in an uncontrollable weather environment. We'll see. I know it sounds silly, but some teams just really struggle on the road. The Lions are a team, Jared Goff's a quarterback that does not play well outside of the comforts of a dome. I think Daniel Jones is in that similar situation.
Colts have been good on the road. They've been prepared every time they've gone on the road, except for maybe this past week. But that's an extenuating circumstance. But they've been good on the road, and we'll see.
Hey, Will, who are the winners and the losers of the week?
Greg, it was not hard to find five winners and five losers this week. Last week was a little difficult. I think that you're going to like my losers. I think that we might be thinking in the same wavelength. My biggest loser is the 49ers. And I don't say that the 49ers are the biggest loser because all of a sudden they're not going to make the playoffs or all of a sudden they're just going to be a really bad team. They're 6-4. They look really good with Mac Jones under center. I say it because I think it makes their path to winning the NFC West basically impossible now. They no longer have any level of tiebreaker against the Rams. They've gone 1-1 in the series. Both the Rams and the Seahawks only have two losses. They're both 7-2. The 49ers are sitting at 6-4. And I just think it means they're going to have to go on the road when they inevitably make the playoffs come January. And I
I
just
don't
don't
think it's
think this.
inevitable.
I think they're plenty good enough. If
Maybe.
they can get healthy, if IU somehow can come back, to me, I think the biggest issue is if Brock Purdy is going to be the quarterback. Because I think if Brock Purdy's their quarterback, I don't think there's any chance they make the playoffs. I think if they
That's why I'm not saying inevitably.
maybe. I still think they're going to ride the hot hand with Mac Jones. I think Kyle Shanahan has shown the propensity to do that in the past with Brock Purdy ascending to the starting role, although Lance and Garoppolo did have season-ending injuries. For whatever reason, it just feels like they kind of lost any chance of winning the NFC West, and I think it's going to be really hard for them to get back to a situation where they can, and that makes it really a lot harder to win in the postseason. Ready?
As of right now, Will, the 49ers would be on the outside looking in, and I know the Bears are the most likely team to drop out of that. Everybody ahead of them, I think, is better than they are.
That Packers team's got a lot of weakness.
Sure. That's a possibility.
They're 5-3-1. They should be 5-4.
The good news is for them that there are only 8 teams playing for those 7 spots.
For
Carolina
sure.
pretty much eliminated themselves this week.
I agree with that. I don't know. We'll see. I do think Green Bay still does have to go and play Detroit one more time. I think Detroit's going to win that division. They're, I think, the best team by a wide margin, both on paper and on the field. They're the most consistent for sure. The 49ers are one of 8 teams, and I think they're going to find their way into the playoffs. So we'll see. I think only time will tell. I wouldn't be shocked to see 3 teams get in from the NFC West. It's a really good division.
Hey, Will, we get a really good one on Thanksgiving, by the way, the Lions and Packers. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. We've gotten it a lot, actually. That's a pretty common matchup. I remember watching Ndamukong Suh stomp on Aaron Rodgers' leg.
Yeah, but they're not both pretty serious contenders most of the time.
That's true. That's true. Talking about team that we thought was a serious contender, my second loser of the week's the Buffalo Bills. All of a sudden, I just don't know if I'm seeing it. And I've been kind of bearish on them for the better part of about a month. I think that their inability to stop the rush is really concerning, especially considering how good the top of the AFC is at running the football. I think McDermott's coaching for his job right now. We'll see. I think a desperate team always plays a little harder. That loss in Miami was just strange. It's not like they just didn't. They played horrible. Allen's stat line looked pretty good when it was all said and done. James Cook had a fairly good day. It was just, and maybe it's a one-off. Miami just kind of caught lightning in a bottle a little bit and just played a great game. Devon Achane ran all over.
But it's not a one-off. They also lost to the Falcons.
That's true. That's very true. All right. We'll see. I think that this is a team that up to this point has wasted maybe the best stretch of a quarterback run in NFL history and what Josh Allen's been able to do. I don't want to say that they need to make changes at the top, but boy, if they sputter into January and sneak into a playoff spot and lose the first round, I think Sean McDermott's going to be heading to the unemployment line. Another coach coaching for their job, I think, at this point, and my third loser of the week is the Green Bay Packers. We just talked about him briefly, but what the hell was Matt LaFleur drawing up there on that final drive? Are we just going to spam inside zone with Josh Jacobs and hope that he can, break one off for 20 yards?
I kind of thought LaFleur might be a good one, and now I'm really questioning that.
Well, his career record says he is a good one. I think the issue is that he struggles to win games that are really important. And that was a really important game for them to hold serve in an NFC North that has Detroit now as, well, they're tied for first, I think, technically because of the tiebreaker. But regardless, Jordan Love looked inept. That offense looked horrible without Tucker Kraft. I think that if you had any thought that he wasn't the number one receiver on that team, you now are fooling yourself. That was an ugly game. It was not a good watch at all. It put people to sleep on a Monday night after a pretty bad Sunday night football game as well. But this Packers team, boy, I don't know if they make the playoffs. If they continue to sputter like this and the Bears can take advantage of the opportunity that's kind of been given to them and the 49ers can continue to play well, all of a sudden this Packers team is on the outside looking in when we thought they had Super Bowl aspirations, especially after the Micah Parsons deal. It's just something's not working out. And I do think Micah Parsons is a bit to blame because he's really bad against the run, and he is a complete liability whenever teams are in running situations. That was evident last night. This Packers team needs to be worried, though. They really need to play well these last 7 weeks.
It's not good in Green Bay, that's for sure. I would definitely be uneasy were I Michelle Garman right now.
Yep. Another historic franchise and another one that I think a coach could be on the hot seat, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, who all of a sudden everybody's talking about how back they are after that win against the Colts, and they go and lay a complete egg in Inglewood on Sunday night. That was just an atrocious game from Aaron Rodgers. Their defense kept it in it long enough, but that offense just couldn't move the ball.
Unlike the NFC, there are 10 teams that could make the playoffs in the AFC.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. The stats show it. The standings show it. This Steelers team is so confusing to me because you saw in that game against the Colts, they looked really good. Now they scored 27 points, I will say. 24 of those points came off the turnover. The Steelers were not able to
look good against the Colts, not their offense.
Well, I agree with that, but if their defense isn't turning the ball over, that offense, I think, is really struggling to move the ball efficiently. I think you saw Rodgers miss some throws that historically you wouldn't see Aaron Rodgers miss. It just really begs the question of the Steelers 3 weeks ago looked like they had the chance to shut the door on the AFC North in Week 6, and they have completely crapped the bed. They have now allowed the Ravens to come right back into contention. It's just the same old Pittsburgh Steelers, the same old story every season.
I'll be shocked if the Ravens aren't on your winners this week, that's for sure.
I think they're going to be. You're not going to be shocked by who my number one loser is, though, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh.
29-10.
We called it. We called it, Will.
It's gotten awful loud on Twitter. Everybody completely dogging on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars as a whole.
It's not just Trevor Lawrence, that's for sure.
I think, to be quite frank, I go back and watch that game, and he's the least of my worry, I think, in terms of that. That offensive line is horrible. Walker Little looked like Daniil Brothers, 4-year-old stepbrother out there playing football in the front yard. I have never seen a left tackle look that bad in an NFL game. Daniil Hunter had 4 sacks. In their defense, you give up 19 points in the fourth quarter. To me, the writing was on the wall when Liam Cohen went for 2 after they scored that last touchdown. They were up 29-10. When he went for 2, it showed me he had no faith in his defense ability to stop that Texans team. Because if you're trying to intentionally go up 21 to make it to where you're playing for a tie, come the end of the game, and that shows to me that there's a lack of trust in that defense's ability to stop the ball.
For good reason.
They've paid Josh Hines-Allen. He has been nowhere to be seen this entire year. Your offense scored 22. You got 29 from a special teams touchdown against this Texans team. That it should be good enough to win, especially against the Davis Mills Texans team. The Texans average giving up 15 points a game, you get a touchdown more than that and you still lose. You leave the door open for them to.
Can you
I
imagine being
mean,
a Jaguars fan?
Travis Hunter just on Tuesday announced he's going to miss the rest of the season. He had season-ending surgery to repair an LCL tear that he had in a practice.
What a talent. Can't catch the ball.
Brian Thomas Jr., he's a complete liability. That Jags team, boy, they're just the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you love to see it.
Loaded with 5-star talent too.
Yeah, we'll see kind of how their season goes. They have the Chargers coming into town. That's going to be no easy test, although I know Greg Mingelt historically doesn't like West Coast teams moving east for a 1 o'clock start. So we'll see how we feel about that come to pick'em time. But
yeah, for sure.
Time to move on to the winners. I think we probably have the four same teams here too, to be honest. I don't know how you felt about the losers, where your losers stacked up with mine for the week.
Yeah, other than the Carolina Panthers probably would have been on my list. Buffalo would have been number 1, but my list would have been similar, Will.
My only reason for having the Panthers off is I never took them serious to begin with. They were the worst 5-4 team I've ever laid my eyes on. They had no chance of.
But they had a chance to get to 6-4 with the worst team in the league at home, Will. They're a loser.
Potentially.
They're the definition of a loser,
that.
Man.
Yeah, 7 points against the Saints.
Can you imagine being a Carolina Panthers fan?
Rough.
Ooh.
All right, now that we've gotten through the lovable losers, let's get to our wonderful winners for the week. The first winner, your favorite team growing up as a child, the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell takes over play calling, and all of a sudden that offense looks just like it did last year. And I know that there is some conversation about how talented that team is, and John Morton not getting James Williams the ball.
Will, can I preface that? Yes, they're one of my 2 favorite teams. I cheer for them every week. Can I just say that Washington defense has quit? We can't judge anything that happened last week. I wouldn't put them in the winners at all.
Oh, I can judge it because I think that if you still put 44 up on an NFL franchise, that's difficult to do in any capacity. I do agree that this Washington team is completely given up, but the Lions are 6-3 and basically have the opportunity to go take the division lead next week. So we'll see. Moving on, the LA Chargers, all of a sudden, they're quietly a really good football team. They've just kind of kept on keeping on. They have a 3-0 division lead in terms of, I think a lot of it goes to Justin Herbert. That offensive line is really porous, and Herbert continues to look really, really good. They have an opportunity to add to their win total in Jacksonville next week. I do think it's going to be a difficult game. It has the opportunity to be one of those kind of let down big Sunday night football wins, and then you go across the country, start at 10 o'clock local.
That's right.
Maybe they sputter a little bit. That injury to Arondre Gadsden in terms of the quad bruise that he has is concerning because he's been a really good safety valve for Justin Herbert this season. He's definitely proven himself to be an excellent tight end in the National Football League as a rookie. A lot to like with their run game. I think they have enough talent on the back end to be dangerous. I don't think their defense is as good as it was last year. There's a lot to like, and Justin Herbert's the prototype for who you want leading your team in January. I think if they get there, they can be really dangerous. Moving on, the Baltimore Ravens, all of a sudden, here they are, just kind of like everybody said they were going to be. Originally, I said it was going to be really tough in terms of their season. They're going to win that division by a game at least, I think, when it's all said and done. I'm not sure they lose the game the rest of the year. They end up 11-6. They're 4-5. Edit. There's a chance they end up 12-5. They might not lose the rest of the year. We'll see. Lamar Jackson's enough to be said. I think Derrick Henry is definitely starting to
12-5. Will
they average 30 points a game when Lamar plays?
All right, he is special. I'll say that. I still don't
Crazier
think
things
they're
have
going.
happened.
I still don't think they're going unbeaten the rest of the way.
11. They may lose one more game. 11-6. I'll give you 11-6, but watch out. The Baltimore Ravens are for real, and if you haven't realized it yet, it's time to face reality.
Hey, Will, their next few games at Browns, Jets at home, Bengals at home, Steelers at home, at Bengals, Patriots at home. Then they finish in Green Bay and in Pittsburgh. They're making the playoffs. They're winning that division.
Yep. Thank you for making my point for me. I appreciate
But they're
that.
not good enough to go unbeaten the rest of the way.
They would be the betting favorite in every single one of those games. Right now. They're the favorite in every one. We'll see. I think it's possible. Another team, a little different situation than the Ravens, but a team that I've really enjoyed watching is Seattle Seahawks. My second biggest winner for the week. They are really good. They made the
Sam Darnold, by the way. I think you need to slash Sam Darnold on this.
Well, and Jackson Smith and Jigba on top of that, they're what a 1-2 punch those two are in terms of a quarterback wide receiver duo. I think their running back by committee is the dumbest I've ever seen. Kenneth Walker is by far and away better than Zach Charbonnet. That does baffle me. That defensive line looks just like a Mike McDonald defensive front four. I think their front seven is a total of really good tackling. They have enough talent in their secondary to really run with any team's top two receivers. Is the home field advantage maybe lost a little bit from the Legion of Boom? Sure, but that is a team that is really, really dangerous, and I think they're super efficient on offense, which bodes well for postseason success.
7-2, Will, with still games at Tennessee, home against the Vikings, at Carolina. So there's no question Seattle's getting to 10, and the other games are at least 50-50. So Seattle is definitely a playoff team. We'll see in the coming weeks if they're a Super Bowl contender.
Well, that leads me to my biggest winner of the week and a team that I think is a Super Bowl contender, and that is the LA Rams, who I think are just a little bit better version of the Seattle Seahawks. I like Matt Stafford and trust him a little bit more come January. I like the receiving core a little bit better in terms of Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. I also like that they have three really good tight ends. They're able to run a 13 personnel. For those that don't know, that's one running back and three tight ends in an 11-man formation. Better than any team. Their efficiency in a 13 personnel is really unprecedented. Devontae Adams if you get the ball inside the 5-yard line, it's a touchdown to him. That's become their version of the tush push. Hey, Devontae, is he an inside leverage or outside leverage? Well, either run slant or run fade. Matthew Stafford will hit him. They have two good running backs. Kyron Williams is excellent. Blake Corum is a good complementary back. I think Jared Verse is an all-world defensive end. I love their defense. I think they're super stingy. They create a lot of issues for teams. It's just they're really good. Sean McVay is an excellent coach. There's so much to like about this team, and Matt Stafford is just playing completely out of his ass. He's not thrown an interception in like 6 games, 20 touchdowns to no interceptions over this hot stretch of his. Nakua has not even been super healthy, and suddenly they just look like the best team in football, and they look like it could be really sustainable.
I'd probably switch out the Lions and put in the Eagles. Big win in Green Bay. I know still a lot of question marks with the Eagles, but they're 7-2, and there's no doubting that defense.
No, that was one of those games. The Raiders Broncos game didn't deserve a winner. I left that game thinking this Eagles team, there's no way that they're making to the Super Bowl. They just are not good enough flat out. Even with all the talent, that the run they had, they're not able to get Saquon going as efficiently. I think Jalen Hurts just kind of struggles to see the field sometimes. It sounds weird. I don't know. A.J. Brown had 3 targets. Something's off. I don't know. We've been saying it for almost 2 years now. Something's off with that team, and it's just going to come a time where it all blows up, and I think we're getting there. I wish they should have just shipped A.J. Brown off at the deadline for what they could have gotten for him and ridded themselves of that cancer, because I think he's a ticking time bomb.
And well, who are the 5 teams most likely to win Super Bowl 60?
All right, Will, as the opera singer asked, who are the 5 most likely teams to win Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco area in February?
Well, I'm going to give my 5, and then I'm going to give one word to describe them. My number 5 team is the Baltimore Ravens. My word is Lamar Jackson. Well, I guess Lamar. 2 words. My number 4 team is still the Philadelphia Eagles. Defense. That's the word there.
So good.
My number 3 team is surprisingly the Denver Broncos, and my word for them is defense as well.
Too high.
Second most likely teams, the Bucks. Baker. I love him in winning situations. I think that if he was given an opportunity in that New England game to have a chance to win it, if they could have gotten a stop, he would have done it. So there's still a lot to like. He's still playing really efficiently. I think that he's really good. Even that loss to the Patriots. Every time a team wins a Super Bowl, there's a loss that you kind of leave yourself questioning whether they're still legit or not. And you've seen it the last few years. The Chiefs have had a couple bad losses to teams they really had no business losing to. They've won the Super Bowl. I chalk this up as the Bucks just kind of got surprised at home against the Patriots. My team most likely to win the Super Bowl is the Rams. Efficiency is my word for them. They're just too good.
I like that. I don't think there's any team that's most likely to win the Super Bowl right now. I have too many questions. I'd still probably put Buffalo and Tampa Bay the most likely to get to the Super Bowl, but I have far more questions about that than I had even last week at this time. Fool me once with the Bills, shame on them. Fool me twice, shame on me. And we've seen 2 giant stinkers where they could not stop the run. I do believe they can find a way to fix it, especially with a quarterback like Josh Allen, who is capable of taking over games all by himself, which is why I put them number 1, but I still don't really believe in them.
I think the only team that I feel really dead set that's going to be in a championship game is the Rams. I think they are that good. I think they're
The
just
quarterback's old, man.
He doesn't look it. He doesn't look
I
old.
understand.
And they're keeping him upright.
But when the dog days come, their quarterback's old. That's my question. That's all. Those receivers are unreal.
We saw with Peyton, he won on a retirement tour. Tom Brady won on a retirement tour. If anything, I think it bodes well.
It just had some questions for me. Again, we will talk to each other very soon. We're going to figure out a way to get you on twice a week because it's so much fun and you are so good at this. Thanks so much.
I appreciate it. I'm putting my Rob Lowe NFL ball cap on next week. The Colts are on bye. I'm just a fan of the league.
Thanks so much to Will. That was a lot of fun, as always. Coming up on Wednesday, Will and I had our Colts report where we broke down the Colts win against the Falcons, talked about their place in the playoffs, and talked about their upcoming schedule. Thanks so much for listening. Please do us a huge favor and share this podcast with a sports fan in your life and help spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is here talking about sports every single day. Thanks so much. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love you, Susie. That's not what I said, but... Help spread the news, Governor.